I wanted to make this video because I see something happening again and again with a lot of founders hitting around 20 to 30K per month. Revenue really looks good at that stage, but internally, most founders are exhausted because Slack just never stops going. Clients keep messaging, every issue escalates to them, their weekends just completely disappear. It maybe looks like they are successful because the money is coming in, but it always comes back to one thing of why business is slowing. Delivery was never designed to actually scale the business. So within this actual video, what I want to actually do, I want to focus on a couple things. I want to help you to understand what needs to happen inside of your business so you can still deliver the same results, same quality without dropping the actual ball, this time without actually burning out. Because if you currently are burning out with most of the clients that are looking for you to actually deliver the results to them, then you currently have really a system flaw inside of your business and your business is currently broken. So in this video, I really want to help you to overcome that problem. So watch this video till the end and you will have a better understanding exactly what needs to happen inside of your business in order for you to not burn out when you're actually delivering the result to your actual clients. So watch this video till the end because by the end of this actual video, you will learn and understand, number one, why delivery becomes the silent bottleneck inside of most businesses. Number two, the difference between chaotic delivery and structured delivery. Number three, the 5 components of burnout-proof delivery system. Number 4, how to document without actually overcomplicating. Number 5, how to reduce founder involvement step by step. And number 6, tools that support systems without actually creating noise. So with that being said, let's get into it. Watch this video till the end because what I'm about to give you is something that has helped hundreds of coaches, consultants, and agency owners to actually overcome the biggest problem they currently have, which is the delivery itself. Okay? So let's get into it. So why delivery burns founders out? Most service businesses are built like this. Step 1, get a client. Step 2, figure out how to deliver. Step 3, and then repeat the process. At 3 clients, this process probably will work. And at the start of the business, 3 clients, you can fulfill them how you want. And you probably will also figure out things as you go to see how you deliver, what's working, what's not working, where can you improve. But at 12 clients, this becomes the actual chaos. Okay, so common sense, you answer most questions, you approve most work, and you fix most actual mistakes. So maybe you have, let's say, a WhatsApp group, maybe you have a Telegram group, or maybe you even have, say, Slack. And let's say what you do is you get your clients, they pay you, you onboard them, and you add them to a Slack group. And then all of your clients currently are on Slack. Or let's say maybe you add them to a Telegram group or you maybe add them to an actual WhatsApp group, okay? And now, if they have a question, all of them are just asking you questions on actual Slack or one of the groups that you have created. And now you are consistently the one person that's answering. Or maybe you have somebody inside of your business that is responsible for answering all of their questions. And most of the times that person that is answering those questions is also coming to you to ask questions as well because they don't know the answer, okay? That really could be the problem inside of your business because your delivery is really breaking. So let's keep moving. Number 4, you jump into Slack constantly, okay? So that means you are in and out from actual Slack, or the person is in and out and then they consistently keep notifying you that there are questions and they probably can't answer most of those questions, so they keep going back and forward for you to really help them to answer those questions, okay? And that's not scale. That means like you are the main engine inside of the business and you're the main guy that actually delivers, answers questions, and does everything inside of the business. What that VA is doing there, if you do have a VA currently that's jumping back and forth with you to answer most of the actual client's questions, is he's just literally the middleman of receiving the question and asking you questions. So he maybe has a skill set to answer some of the questions, but most questions are going to you because he's asking you them. So sometimes I have seen even in some businesses, in some cases, that's not even worth to have the VA because all those questions are being asked to VA and then the VA is still asking them the questions, okay? So the 5 parts of a clean delivery system, okay? So number 1 is the clear onboarding. Every client should go through the same steps. So example, so they must have actual checklist. You must have a checklist of contract signed, invoice paid, assets collected, kickoff call scheduled, KPIs defined. KPIs of what the actual delivery will look like, what will be the first milestone, what will be like the first goals we need to be achieved, okay? And this should not be actually improvised, okay? This should be the first thing you do. You follow an actual checklist for each actual client. This way you don't get lost. I have seen in many businesses, somebody would be like onboarding a client and they'd be like, hey, we need a couple things from you. We need testimonials. I also need other couple things from you. Could you send it to me? And so later on, let's say they're working with a teammate and the teammate would help them, like their colleague, or let's say a team player will help them to fill that client. They suddenly ask a question, hey, do you have this client's assets? And so the guy was like, hey, yeah, I asked him about it. I don't know if he actually sent me. Let me check my email. No, I don't see it. And then he was like, okay, so let me go ask him. So he asks him. He was like, no, I actually sent it. And then now you are going and chasing his actual assets, okay? So what I would do then is, if you need anything from clients, I would have actual checklist, and then I would send them that checklist like an Excel spreadsheet and tell them, hey, this is what I need, and I want you to send it, like, let's say maybe there's a link they can upload, or maybe they can even, you could say, hey, that's your folder in Google Drive. I want you to add all those things to the Google actual Drive, okay? You have access, you can just add it. And then they just tick the actual boxes. Yes, that was delivered, this was done, all the assets collected, awesome, okay? So it's much easier for you to do, because then it doesn't require for you to go waste time and ask each other like, hey, did he do this, did he do that? You can look at the actual dashboard itself, like an Excel spreadsheet, and you can see what was actually delivered on behalf of the actual client as well. A lot of therapists and a lot of coaches sometimes do this, like mindset coaches, business coaches also do that. Is what I do. They need maybe a couple questions to be answered before they actually can dive deeper into actually answering certain constraints inside of the business. So what they need the forms to be filled out, okay? So sometimes they would send the form and then the person would not see the form, or maybe they haven't received the form, or they need to check for the form. And so what happened is then you're going and chasing an actual form. And so for this not to happen, you should have checklists in place. This will help you to operate much better and much smoother inside of your actual business as well, okay? So let's keep moving. So number 2, define scope, right? Burnout often comes from unclear boundaries, right? So write down what is included, what is not included, response time expectations, and revision limits. Everything from how your clients should respond to you. What is the time frame that you need the response to happen in, right? What is included, what is not included in the service, right? So like everything has to be defined. I'm gonna tell you why. I was working with a client once, and we said, hey, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna also help you to get a closer, okay? And because I wasn't specifically mentioning in the agreement and on the onboarding that, hey, we're gonna not be training your closer. We can get you the closer, but we're not gonna be training the closer for you, because that was not really defined, and really that decision wasn't clearly communicated to the actual client. They thought that when we hire a closer, we will also train the closer and we will get him to a KPI. And so later on that became a problem, because nobody was training that, and they said, hey, that was not clearly communicated. So this is super important that you define the scope even when you're operating, right? So even when you're fulfilling a client, you need to know what exactly that scope looks like. What is going to be done, what's not going to be done, and you need to be agreeing on that. And what does it look like? And then also response time for expectations. Like if there are any deadlines need to be met, like what is the deadline? What happens if it's not met? Everything has to be included, because then it's 100% total clarity on your side and also on the client's end, okay? So clear scope reduces emotional pressure. Let's keep moving. So number 3, weekly, okay? So why it's weekly? So weekly, you need to optimize, you need to review, you need to understand what's happening. So delivery must follow an actual rhythm. So example, Monday, you maybe do internal planning, Wednesday, execution, and then Friday, client updates. So you maybe send an update for a client every single week. By end of the week, just let them know exactly what has happened, where you are, where you're moving with the project, what is the next step, what have you overcome, what has been done, okay? When I started one of my agencies before with a couple of partners, we were really struggling with this one, okay? It's like we didn't have a lot of updates. We were just said, hey, we're doing all the work. We know what we are doing. Just let us do our work. And then clients sometimes message us and say, hey, like, what's happening with the project? Like, are we moving closer to the deadline? What's being done? Can I see what's being done? Can you maybe share something what's being done? Because like currently I'm just sitting here in silence and I don't know what you're working on and what you're not working on and what's being done and what's not being done. And like, is there anything being done? And so this is why I always say, do not make that mistake. Have like updates where the client maybe can go check an Excel spreadsheet and see what have you done. So maybe there's a couple things you can tick off and be like, hey, we just built out your first actual offer. We just launched your first actual ad. We just did this, right? So they can see what's happening. Or maybe you can be like, hey, we just optimized your first ad. We changed this and that and that. And because of this, it's much easier for also for your clients to see the actual progress and the building of the actual project and seeing how you're actually helping them, okay? And so then they also can see that the progress is consistently being done. When there is nothing to look at, there is silence, what is happening is they're doubting themselves, they're having hundreds of questions inside of their own mind. And so what's happening is then they go on a Slack and they start asking you questions, they start bombard you, and they take you away from what matters the most, which is delivering the results, right? So, and which leads me to number 4, communication structure. Not random Slack chaos, like, because this is what we had in one of my first agencies, and also in the second one, we had a Slack, right? We would just throw everybody down the Slack group, and we'd be like, hey, anything you need, just give us a holla in the Slack group, and we will be there to help you. And then eventually, because we didn't have no dashboards, we didn't have no fulfillment overview systems that like a client can see what's being done, like what's being done there. And because we really lacked on the communication as well, some clients would be like, hey, can we book a call? And sometimes we were like, yeah, let's book in a call. And then we would spend 30 minutes on the call just giving him all the updates of what has been done and what we have been doing. And this was like totally waste of time. Sometimes these calls would even take longer than 30 minutes. They would be like going 45 minutes or 1 hour, sometimes even 2 hours, just to tell them everything was being done and the client's writing down, asking questions and everything. And this happens when you just randomly push all of your clients into Slack group. And another thing, if you say, hey, yeah, but I give them updates on actual Slack, just think about where can you do it without you actually compromising yourself, okay? So define where communication happens, when it happens, and what qualifies as urgent. And you should also have things like really urgent that needs attention immediately, not so urgent and like could wait. Because if you don't have defined this different levels of urgency of communication, then every message will feel like urgent, okay? And boundaries will actually protect your energy. So number 5, performance tracking. Every client needs measurable KPIs. If performance is unclear, emotions increase as well, okay? Data will help you to reduce that noise as well. So example, one agency owner, right? Before, clients messaging daily, like that's me. They're messaging me all the time. Not reporting rhythm, founder reviewing every ad, okay? After weekly reporting templates, predefined optimization process, team handles execution, founder reviews metrics weekly only. Result, same revenue, nothing changed, but 50% less actual stress, okay? Then revenue also grew because capacity expanded. And this is what I mean when you have to have the right systems inside the business, right? You have to have clear onboarding. You have to have defined scopes. You have to have the weekly reviews. You have to have the communication structure. You have to have the performance tracking. All of this leads for your business to a healthier place and also keeps your sanity checked. So step by step, how to actually build it. So step 1, write down current delivery steps, okay? Everything from the first onboarding to the kickoff call, to achieving the first milestones, to writing everything out, just write it out, okay? Step 2, turn repeated tasks into actual checklists. Some tasks that have to be done all the time and you see them repeating, add them in actual checklists. Step 3, define scope clearly. Then step 4, install weekly cadence. And then step 5, reduce founder approvals gradually, okay? That all can be done through checklists. It all could be done through really understanding, like, for example, there's different also, I would say, different type of checklists. One checklist is where you can tick things off, and one checklist is where you can actually look at things that have to make sense. So one would be like your literally like your grocery checklist, right? Bought tomatoes, check, 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 right? One checklist could be like, hey, if you're buying tomatoes, make sure that the date is like this, the color of the tomatoes is like this, and the packaging is like this. That means you can buy it. If it's not like this, don't buy it. And then you can tick, right? That's a completely different, that's a detailized actual checklist. So there's different type of checklists as well. So you should keep that in mind, okay? So, and then obviously this will help you to reduce the founder approvals on your side, and also will take that dependency away from the business. So tools to keep it really simple and sharp, right? I would sometimes suggest you not to overload yourself with actual tools, because I see this a lot of times. A lot of founders and coaches and a lot of consultants, they try to get the latest tools. They try to get like tools that they have seen from another guru on internet using, or even sometimes, let's say they see somebody like Alex Hormozy using certain tools, and they're like, oh, because he has the tools, I need the tools. But what you don't understand is like he's sitting on 100 million and you are sitting on 30 to maybe 50,000. And that's the problem. There's a different type of scope of operation. So you need to also kind of understand your type of operation currently inside of your business, okay? So some of these tools would be ClickUp, right? Process tracking, Google Sheets for KPI dashboards, Loom, recording training once, and then Slack, structured channels only. Tools are support, and structure is going to be the core thing that you need inside of your business currently in order for you to actually scale your business. So tools will help you to support, and the structure is the core that needs to happen in order for your business to actually grow as well. But tools will help you to keep everything neat and actually simple, okay? So why simple wins, okay? Simple wins for a couple of reasons. It takes, first of all, the complex delivery system that you currently have, which means like you're doing everything, and it puts it into a simple place where you can see it, optimize it, and you can put everything outside from your head to an actual one place, okay? Another thing that you need to understand is complexity sometimes is really what actually burns out the actual founder. When they have too many things to look at, too many things to catch up, they have too many things to message, they have too many things to think about it, they have different type of clients, they can't remember each client, what he actually needed, and that just burns out the founder as well. And also big thing is like when you have systems, let's say you get tools, right here we have a couple tools. If these tools would all be really complex, these tools will never get used. Simple tools are what people really like to use as well. If it's really complex tools with a lot of these whistles and everything, nobody wants to use that. Simple tools are much easier to use because they're simple to understand, okay? Burnout doesn't come from growth, it comes from understructured growth. Delivery systems create much more simplicity, easier to understand your business, better flow, better processes, and better actual scale as well. So delivery systems also create stability, capacity, margin, and mental space as well. And that's how you scale without actually burning out. So if you really enjoyed this video and you really understand all the structures that need to happen inside of your business and how can you now create a delivery system that doesn't burn you out, then subscribe to my channel, like this, comment down below if you need any additional help or maybe another piece of content that you want me to relate or maybe make just so you have a better understanding. Then just comment down below and I will make sure I have that out for you as well. Please like and subscribe as well, because this will help me to rank higher in the algorithm as well, and it helps me to push the content out to people that actually need, because so many coach consultants and agency owners are in really need of good content out, quality content that helps them to actually get things done inside of their business, understand their business better, and understand what type of systems actually go inside of their actual business. Everything that I teach you, I have done. I've spent well over hundreds of thousands of dollars, probably near the million, to education, failing, winning, trying things not working, trying different services, most services that didn't work, some services did work. So what I'm about to give you all on my actual YouTube channel is everything 100% free, but also everything that I have tested as well, okay? So with that being said, use this. Number one thing is implement this, and I see you around.